Hello and welcome to Down by the Gram on Cam with me, the Grandmaster Kush, talking all things Amsterdam, coffee shops and everything for the cannabis community. Joining me as always, I have my co-host, the Fada Fairy.
Yoo-hoo. Hello, hello.
Ready for this one?
Yes.
Had a few weeks off, we're back now.
Yeah,
Looking forward to this.
Absolutely.
So joining us this week we have Jordan from Primal Healing and Primal Therapeutics and Ben the Hobby Grower.
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes.
Thank you for having us.
Before we get started, we've got a word from our sponsors, 21 by 20, Life Summed Up. So you can pick between a snapback or a beanie.
Snapback.
Snapback.
Sure.
There's one each. And because it was your birthday the other day, I'm going to give you a beanie as well. It gets cold in Colorado, so.
It does get cold in Colorado. Ooh, I'm so excited. This is how and why I met you.
Yeah, no, that's it. But we'll tell that story in a second. Yeah, 21 by 20, Life Summed Up. They're not on general sale, they're just for the smoking elite of high society. But if you want your chance to win one, you can like and share this episode to your Instagram or Facebook and comment underneath what 21 multiplied by 20 equals, and we'll get one out to the winner. We're just going to do 4 questions in 20 seconds. So, Jordan, you answer first,
Okay.
and then Ben, you answer second. So, weed or hash?
Weed.
Hash.
Sativa or indica?
Indica.
Sativa.
Rolled or in bowls?
Bowls.
Rolled.
And what was the first coffee shop you ever smoked in?
Here?
In Amsterdam, yeah.
Amsterdam, the first coffee
Terps
shop
Army.
was Terps
Oh, yeah?
Army. Yeah.
The first one or the second one? Like the one in the city?
Yes.
Yeah, nice.
Well, I guess let me take that back. In 2006, I smoked at 420 Cafe.
Across or
By
around
the
the
train
corner.
station.
Yeah. So that's literally like one street over nearly from
Oh,
Terps
okay.
Army. Yeah, if you go down onto the shopping street and then the next lane, that's Terps
Okay.
Army.
I
there,
went
yeah.
and found it because I had to see if it still existed
Yeah,
18
hasn't
years
changed.
later. No,
Hasn't
it's the
changed
exact same.
whatsoever, yeah.
Which is what I love about it. Honestly, it's a beautiful, like, old school cafe.
It really
like,
is.
the wooden tables,
Yeah.
the old bar and all.
Yep.
It's beautiful, yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, no, you can't change that. Like
No.
it's,
No.
I always say once you change old to modern, you can't go back. You know what I mean? So you
Absolutely.
need
Yeah.
to keep a few of them around. Same with the Joker. Like it
Yeah.
just has that old school proper vibe. Like
Yeah.
Real Amsterdam.
yeah. So yeah, we were saying about the hat. Literally, you spotted it the other day.
I did. I spotted it on a man in Katsu.
Katsu, yeah.
And I pointed it out to Ben and I said, I don't know where that came from, but I have to have that hat. And then later at the ferry event, I saw the same man. And so I walked up to him and I was like, your hat is so cool. I saw you at a shop earlier. And he was like, this guy.
He's like, where can I get one? I was like, you
Yeah.
gotta come on my podcast. Like, okay.
I was like, I
here
could
we
go
are.
on a podcast. I love podcasts.
That was beautiful how that
Yeah,
happened.
that was-
Just
It really
there.
was.
I just
Yeah.
heard her saying it. I was like, wait a minute, what?
Fantastic
nice.
branding.
Yeah. Yeah, no, nice, just like little sequel to like
Yeah.
wrap your stoner love.
No, for
Yeah.
sure.
Absolutely.
And he's just over here for a few days.
So yes, we are here for a week total. We have 2 more nights here, and we are going on a houseboat, which I heard you lived on for a while.
Yes, beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like some Dutch people haven't even been on
Yeah.
one. Like it's
Wow.
a rare experience. Yeah. Like I
Wow.
was so lucky to have got what I got. It was like amazing.
That's
yeah.
incredible.
It's like I don't know, it like closes you off from the city in like a beautiful way. Once
Forget
you go
about the
down
madness,
into it.
yeah.
Oh
Right.
yeah, no, it's enchanting.
You could be in the middle of the ocean, you know what I
Yes.
No, it is beautiful.
That's actually exactly what I wanted to do. Is I wanted to cook a meal and be able to like sit on the whatever you call
on
it, the
the
dock.
rooftop.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
mean? On
Oh,
the top deck.
Yeah.
that is a whole like Amsterdam. Like I remember before I moved here, they were the little glimpses of why I wanted to move here. The people cycling through the city, the houseboat vibe,
Yeah.
Right.
everything. So
The
yeah,
real side of it,
yes, they're
Absolutely.
the proper bucket list things. Beautiful.
We're excited.
Nice. Yeah. Fuck yes.
And tell us about what you do in Colorado.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I've been a nurse for 23 years. I've been doing massage for 18 years. And in 2010, I got really sick and I relocated from Florida to Colorado
Yeah.
for my health. And cannabis actually saved my life.
Nice.
And so I now dedicate my life to the plant by doing cannabis massage.
Nice.
And so that just is basically utilizing various oils and salves that are THC infused. Well, they're infused with all the minor cannabinoids as well, but THC has always been my primary cannabinoid because when I started, the CBD boom hadn't happened yet, and so I was hyper focused on THC because that's what was
That's all you
available.
had, yeah.
Exactly. And so I've been doing that for a decade. About 6 months into owning my business, I realized that there was no product on the market that was sufficient for what I was trying to do.
Yeah.
So I started studying herbalism and
Nice.
trying to understand what other plant allies could work synergistically with the cannabis plant.
Yeah.
And so I started making products, and I did that until people started asking if they could buy them.
Nice.
And so then it was like, well, wait, you can't just buy THC from me.
Yeah.
So that's when I started a CBD skincare line.
Okay.
So that I had the
nice.
ability to sell them everywhere.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And so now, 10 years into owning this business, I'm excited to talk about the fact that when I get back, the process will continue for me to open a legal cannabis spa in Colorado.
Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's
Well
amazing.
done.
Thank you. I've been working with legislators to have an ordinance written so that I will be completely legal.
Wow.
So will this be like a kind of like a day retreat, a space for people to come and receive therapies and
Yes.
treatments?
So we'll have head to toe treatments,
Yeah.
just like you would at a standard spa, but
Yeah.
with the option of cannabis infusion. I'll also have the ability to sell edibles and tinctures and drinks. I can sell cannabis flower, but because we're not going to allow smoking,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I didn't want to walk into a spa and smell stale smoke.
Yeah.
And I don't want that of my
Yeah, I
clients
get that,
either.
yeah, yeah.
And so there's so many other amazing ways we can consume this plant
Yeah.
without
Yeah.
that odor.
No, of course.
And so, and the city likes it better anyways because
Yes.
they don't feel as much
Well,
of it. being
vaping
like
is
this
much bigger in
stoner.
America as well because it's not even legal here. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So, yeah, you can't buy THC vapes here.
Okay.
No.
That's why I
no.
haven't seen them anywhere.
Yeah,
that
that's
makes,
exactly it.
makes sense.
You'll see them in the fake shops. But yeah, no, like everything that you've invented in the last 10 years doesn't exist here. Gummies,
Wow.
vapes, like
We
what's
noticed the
it?
hard candies were all
Yeah,
candies.
Yeah.
It's muffins and brownies is all they say, and half a gram of cannabis butter is technically all you're allowed and stuff. So it's crazy. Yeah.
Wow.
The difference is
Yeah.
just
It's
vast.
Like Americans come over here expecting to find the same. Oh, Amsterdam, you know what I mean? Like no. You left the good stuff. Here you can smoke. Here you can smoke inside, and it's nice vibes and stuff like that.
Exactly.
But the good stuff's where you are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and if you want to buy your stuff, you have to pay triple over here. You know what I mean? Because it followed you over.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh wow.
very much.
It's wild.
So that's exciting. So I'd say
Thank
it's
you.
a lot to get it all set in stone.
Legislatively,
and-
yes.
Oh, I can
absolutely.
imagine.
It's crazy, and that's what
Yeah.
I kind of say each time I go before the council. I say it's very hard for me to believe that this is this complicated.
Yeah.
I just want to
Yeah.
rub cannabis on people, and I've spent the last 10 years proving what it does.
Yes, amazing.
So
yeah.
it's not going to make you high. So
Yeah.
why is this so difficult? I just want to do massages and
Yeah.
facials with it, you know?
Yeah.
No, and literally that it's the lack of understanding or education on their part.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You've done your research, you've done your work, you've done the graft. Now it's, I suppose this is part of it, and also this is what I mean as well, well done, because you're making a change.
Thank you.
Because there's so many people in that office that are like, what?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
is this? You're opening a lot of eyes. You're making people realize that it's not just stoners that sit on couches.
Yeah.
There's so much more to this.
Absolutely.
So it is. You're making
you.
shifts in the medicinal and also legislative ways. You
Thank
know what I
you.
mean? Massively. So yeah, well done.
Thank you.
No, really, that's exciting. I want to go.
Yeah, please do.
100%.
Come
Oh,
stay
yeah.
with us
Do a
anytime.
podcast in
And
the
so
spa.
what do
Yeah,
you-
please do.
Yeah, that'd be
And you
sick.
thinking like a day retreat place or like somewhere they can stay or?
So they won't be able to stay, but it will
Yeah.
be head to toe. So you'll be able to still
Yeah.
do like, you know, a 3-hour spa
Yeah.
day. And there's so many local restaurants right in the area that I want to
Yeah.
be that we'd be able to offer like a spa lunch and to do like
Beautiful,
couples instead of offering champagne.
Yeah.
We'll be able to offer mocktails and like infused
Yes.
cannabis
Yeah,
cocktails
yeah,
instead
nice.
of, which I prefer anyways because you're not supposed to drink when you receive a massage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yet it's encouraged at spas everywhere. You walk in and they're like with wine,
Yeah,
champagne, and it's
just
like,
makes it
well,
look fancier. That's
it
That's
does,
all
it
is.
does,
It's
but
a
it's
gimmick like
not good
everything
for the
else.
human
No,
body.
you're not
It's
feeling healthy.
really not.
Come relax, but feel
Yeah.
Yes,
sick.
but
Yeah.
also make yourself sick on the inside.
Yeah, that's it.
A little
Literally.
toxicity. and then we'll take it away.
No, a joint before a massage. That's what you want. You know what I mean? Nice and
Absolutely.
relaxed. Probably
Or a
fall
nice,
asleep
a
after
nice
each other.
mocktail, or even an edible. Like,
Yeah. And can you do edibles in there?
yeah.
You can sell them in
I
there?
will.
Nice, yeah.
I will. I'll be able to sell edibles, tinctures, capsules, and I could do the cannabis flower, and I
Okay.
could do hash
And
as well.
You can do vapes then?
I could.
Yeah.
Yep, I could, but I'm gonna stay away from all smoking
Okay,
products
no.
just to
Yeah.
prevent my guests, because if they
And it's a
see it,
different
Yeah.
experience.
even if there's signs everywhere that say no smoking,
Yeah,
they're gonna buy it and they're gonna go
No
immediately in the
stoners.
room and they're gonna
Yeah.
smoke
Or
it.
they'll
Of
go smoking
course.
in the parking lot and cause
Yeah,
Right,
no,
which will
that's
be
it.
even worse.
No, and
So
absolutely.
that's what I was going to say.
I've
There's
done
not a
it normal
smoking area or
spots.
anything? You can't
Not
just
not for
nip
when
out
I've
for a
tried to
joint or
open.
anything? No.
You
Okay.
do
No.
want to bring a different approach.
I do.
A different.
I'm
like,
trying to show them
that it
the
doesn't have to be-
therapeutic side of the
Yes.
plant without being attached to the stoner demographic.
Yeah.
And that's what they truly expected. The first time I spoke, there are 7 council members and the mayor, and I think 2 people made eye contact. And now 3 meetings in, now almost all of them will
listen.
look at me like, because you can tell they've now had multiple meetings about this topic, and they
Yeah.
understand so much more now.
Well done.
And the other people who presented to them all
Yeah.
wanted a smoking model. And the city
Okay.
did not want that.
Yeah.
And so they really didn't want this
They were
type
just
of
lumping
language.
it in with everything else then.
Right.
Yeah.
And so when I stood up and I said, and I don't want any consumption other than the topical form, they were like, wait,
Yeah, this is different.
what?
Yeah.
Hold on. We didn't know that was an option. Okay, tell us more.
What are you thinking?
And so that's truly how I've gotten my foot in the door.
Nice.
No, but beautiful, because it's given even for people that don't consume cannabis yet. It's a nice way for them to walk in
Yeah.
and not see just joints and that.
See the other
It's-
benefits of it and
yes.
what else it can do. Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
And I like even the way you said that you did your main research around THC medicinally. Because most people, when you say medicinal cannabis, they're like, oh, CBD.
CBD.
Yeah,
CBG.
that's it.
Whereas I like that you're bringing THC more into it as well.
Thank you.
So it's very interesting. Have you found a lot of difference?
It's better for pain.
Okay, yeah.
Absolutely. So the way that I always explain it, THC is a powerhouse on its own. CBD is a powerhouse on its own. The entourage effect is just that. If you bring everyone to the party, you're going to have that much more of a medicinal
therapeutic
effect.
Yeah.
If you just use THC, is it going to be effective? Of course.
Yeah.
It's the primary cannabinoid. If you just use CBD, also effective.
Yeah.
But if you even just have those two, it's that much more effective.
Yeah.
And so I try to use as many minor cannabinoids as possible as
Okay,
well.
get all the
But
benefits.
THC is always
That main
Yeah.
one. Okay, amazing.
Yeah, 'cause
No,
you just
really
hear mainly
interesting.
CBD, you know what I mean? It's, I suppose it's all they can get away with, so no one even
Exactly.
tries to, yeah.
exactly. And for us, it was the exact opposite. In
Yeah.
2014, when
There's
I
no such thing
started,
as- well, there was, but no, it wasn't mainstream.
yeah, it wasn't mainstream at all. When you went into a dispensary in 2014, it was medical only,
Yeah.
and the only topical products that existed at that time were THC.
Yeah.
And so I purchased every single product that existed, and I tried them all. I walked into my clients' houses, and I said, I have an idea. Can I rub cannabis all over your body? And they were like, what? What's it going to do? And I was like, well, that's the thing. I have no idea. But I'm a nurse.
I'd be a guinea pig. for
And
that,
so I
yeah.
feel like, anything that could possibly happen, I'm going to be here for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the worst that could happen?
Exactly.
Like, you know what I mean?
Plant to not play about with, but it is a safe plant.
Yeah.
It
You know what I
was.
mean? You're
Absolutely.
never going to overconsume to.
And yeah, and I
unless
figured
honestly-
at topical absorption, we understood nothing at that time, and I was like, well, there can't honestly be anything that's going to happen to these people
Yeah,
that
no.
I'm not going to be able to handle in
Yeah.
some way or another.
Your skin catch on fire.
Exactly.
What the fuck? I wasn't expecting that at all.
Spontaneous
Yeah.
combustion.
The spa burnt down on the first day.
So yeah, so I so that.
But even that for going and getting your friends and your clients to be your guinea pigs. Because
Yeah.
as you said, there's nowhere for, even with herbal medicine. Like I remember in Ireland, it's the same. It's very hard to put like herbal medicine on the market because there's no actual ways to test it.
Right.
So you can prove that this actually does what it says.
Exactly.
So they can kind of just put a generic label on most herbs and stuff.
Right.
So it's nice that you were like, okay, I can't bring it to use to test, so I'm going to do it my own way
Yeah.
and then bring it. Yeah.
I started a spreadsheet And I documented every person that I touched, and I
Yeah.
was like, well, what is it doing? Because everyone kept asking me, what is it going to do for me? And I was like,
you
well,
tell me.
tell me how you feel when we're done,
Yeah.
and then I'll know what it's doing for you. But oddly enough, well, not oddly enough, but amazingly enough, one of the first things I noticed about 3 months in, I had a cyst in my wrist that I had for like 2 years, and I was getting acupuncture, and they were wrapping it with the kinesio tape.
Yeah.
And about 3 months into using products on other people,
It was getting.
It was hell.
Yeah,
I
that's-
didn't need acupuncture or anything
Wow.
else.
Amazing.
And I remember the very first interview I ever did, that was exactly, I kind of realized it while I was being interviewed. 'Cause
Yeah.
the woman was like, well, has there been any benefits for you? And I was like, oh,
Now that you mention it.
yeah, my wrist doesn't hurt anymore.
That's crazy.
And so it was incredible that I wasn't waking up every day and intentionally doing this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was working
Yeah.
on people. And
Because that is a big thing for masseuses. Isn't
absolutely.
it? Like the wrist
oh, yeah,
and
our
joint
thumbs
pain.
and our
Yeah.
wrists.
Yeah.
It's our
Like
tools.
I can give a back massage for about like
Yeah,
5
then
minutes.
your hands
Yeah,
just
like,
grab.
Get
Exactly.
the elbow out. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, these are strong women.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
hours
So
and
that's
hours.
amazing.
Yeah, so that was truly one of the first things I
Even
realized,
for
that it was
masseuses
assisting
alone.
us.
Yeah.
Yes, just as
That's-
much as it was helping
Yeah.
them, we were receiving a daily
You're staying
benefit.
stronger as well. 'cause,
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's very good. That's
Homeostasis.
enlightening.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's rare you
It
get
is so
stronger
balance.
as you
Yes.
work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's usually get
Yeah.
more tired. Like, I'm getting better as I
Yeah,
go.
I have been. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been a massage
Yeah.
therapist 18 years. Like, that's a long
That's
time
Yeah.
to be able to
Work.
still
Yeah.
use
Oh,
your
for
body
sure.
the way that I do. And amazingly,
Yeah, but it's the cannabis. You see the difference between even like we're noticing here the older people, like I'm talking like 70s, 80s, the ones that consume cannabis, the ones that don't. The difference.
oh, it's
Oh,
massive.
yeah.
It's like,
The drinkers
wow.
and the smokers.
Yes.
Because especially even in Amsterdam, like the Irish, they say they're known for drinking, but we go mad at one point. The Dutch are very all the time drinkers,
Right.
or else they're all the time stoners. So it's either one or the other. Someone's always on something.
Right.
But you notice the difference between that,
Between them.
the skin, the everything.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah. Like even Mila.
Yeah.
We always
They
talk
know
on
Mila
her.
as well.
She's 80.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And
this
she's
year
up
she
the
turns
Himalayas.
80.
Yeah.
She's
Going
at
up
the
with her
moment.
grandkids,
Yeah.
like there's
I
something
could book
there.
the Himalayas
There's
now. I'm
definitely
half her
something
age.
there.
Yeah.
There's definitely something
Yeah,
there.
no, cannabis.
She's still
it
smoking
is
hash
power.
joints every
Yeah.
day. Like, it's,
Yeah.
Oh,
No.
it's the most powerful plant that we have access to.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I heard a doctor say one time, if we were to find this plant tomorrow in the Amazon and we had never discovered it previously, overnight it would become the most important medical discovery of
Yeah.
all time.
yeah. It's the gift that keeps on
Yeah.
giving. It does everything.
It's for so many
Mental,
different
physical,
med-
Yeah.
medical conditions. The list is just it's infinite.
Yeah.
Every single time someone asks, we get this question a lot, will it help? And then fill in the blank, whatever it
Yeah.
is. And
Just
I've
the answer's
worked
yes.
on the most rare conditions that I've never heard of, or
Yeah.
I hadn't heard of since nursing school.
Yeah.
And then I work on them. And truly, in tens of thousands of patients in the last decade, 100% of cases, we have provided relief.
Oh, yeah.
100%. We've never had someone be like, oh, that sucked.
Yeah, that
Or, oh, you know what I mean? Or get
Right,
off
you
the
know,
table and be
yeah.
like, well, that was awful. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not going to pay. You know, and because we've been mobile, we have to go to our clients' homes, hotels, businesses, and event
Yeah.
spaces because that's the only legal way that I've been able to operate.
Without the spa, yeah, of
Right.
course.
And
Yeah.
so, you know, to do that type of traveling and to just all the things that we've done to
Yeah.
have to get to this point.
Yeah.
Literally that. We're
Yeah.
beautiful now. They can kind of. It's going to still take a lot, but when it gets there, have a bit of a.
Yes.
That home,
Yeah.
that
Yes.
kind of, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
No, it'll be so worth it.
I'm on
really.
step 76 of 1100 right now.
I'll
At least you're
keep
on the
it
way, though, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm on those
Most
steps.
people aren't
though.
on step one.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
and that's what I keep reminding myself is
Yeah.
that, you know, the journey is just as important as the accomplishment.
Yeah, no, of course. That's the main thing.
Massively.
There is nothing at the end.
Right.
You know what I mean? The end, you're like, oh, that was it. The journey is everything. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's not what you do, it's what you're doing. You know what I mean? It's this, you
Yeah,
know what I mean?
fun.
Like I always say, the podcast, I enjoy this part. editing is alright. Having to do everything else after that is bullshit. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
I'd happily just get 4 people in the room and have a joint every
Yeah.
week, but people wouldn't come over if I didn't record it and put it out. You know what I mean? So you have to do all the other shit.
Right.
But this is the bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The viewers, the followers, all that. It's good and all because more
Yeah.
people come, but this is what you want it for. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
This is what I like cannabis for.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
we
Not
love
the
hearing the
gimmicks and the all
stories.
this,
Yep.
the what's the best this and that. Sitting around and smoking a joint with people. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's what the whole it was for thousands of years. Now it's gone mainstream and
Yeah.
money and corporations and all this bullshit. So the users in America use no more than anyone what it's like now.
Yeah.
It's
It's beautiful that you're bringing it back a different way as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, no,
Thank you.
really, honestly.
I'm grateful to even just be able to talk about it.
Yeah.
You know.
no, that's
So
it.
thank you.
Yeah, no, of
it
course.
is.
Yeah.
I'd say it's quite like even like refreshing to yourself and it's like actually fuck yes, this
Yeah.
is what I'm doing.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You should bake yourself up. It's savage. Really,
Thank you.
Truly,
Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah.
I teach the topic as well. In addition to my businesses, I've been teaching for the spa industry
Great,
to
beautiful.
estheticians and massage therapists so that people in the spa world actually understand there are medicinal benefits to the plant. It's not
Yeah.
just a hype ingredient. It's not like when someone decided to use seaweed in products or when
Yeah.
someone decided to use witch hazel, willow
Yeah.
bark, whatever. It's
They all get their moments.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so cannabis had its moment in the skincare world. As far as what I've seen in America,
Yeah.
it's passed. It's already passed.
Okay.
I
It
get
was
that. There was
5-6
a
years
way-
ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even in Ireland with the hemp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's crazy to me because the ingredients are so powerful.
Yeah.
But because there was so much hype that surrounded it,
Yeah.
it's trickled away as the years have gone on. Like I remember the first time I vended at one of these skincare conferences, I think there was like 23 different CBD brands. This past conference that I was just doing in Las Vegas in June had 2.
Wow.
Myself and one other.
And especially for how the states have gone.
I know.
They're kind of just like, okay, let's go for the fast track.
And yeah, and it's
which
the
isn't
education.
gonna last.
It's
No.
not. And so my hope and my goal that by opening this spa and by having THC be the primary ingredient and for the education that I intend to offer, I hope that I can, I don't know, not necessarily bring it back, but be able to continue it nationwide so
Yeah.
that with education, as each state becomes
Yeah.
legal, people will understand
That's it.
why
Yeah.
they want a THC massage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
No,
not just
the
because it
benefits of
sounds
it.
cool,
Yeah,
but like
not 'cause
because
you're
you're
a
gonna
stoner,
feel
yeah.
different when you leave my
Yeah.
spa versus next door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is that you're building a solid foundation. This is all the gimmicks, Holland and Barrett's, they can all put CBD in the window. But the person behind the counter has no fucking clue.
No.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? She's like, I don't know,
Yeah.
cannabis, we can't speak on that. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's
You sell
illegal.
it, but don't talk.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Whereas you're actually, now when the people go to the masseuses, they can actually get an informed reaction back.
Hear
They're
the
not
benefits.
just buying it from the shelf or, as you're saying, a hype. There's actually, you're building like an army of masseuses,
Thank you.
spread the word. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Yeah.
That's it.
It is
Yes.
because
Educate the
otherwise-
few and they'll educate the more.
Exactly.
Like if
Yes.
they do every...
Shout out to all of you already.
Yeah, no, really well done. All of you is amazing. No, nice way the way you're going about
Thank
it, really
you.
and truly.
Thank you.
Oh, I love this. I love when cannabis is just especially as
Something
coming
more
from
to cannabis,
Ireland.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like since moving here, I've seen how much the doors are opening, and over the last couple of years,
Yeah.
wow, it's exciting. I
It
want to
is.
see the world this way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Same.
That's it. Every
Yeah.
few years, you just hear other countries are doing it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? From Thailand, Germany, all that. It's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
We talk about we want to travel as we continue to travel to start with the countries that have legalized
Yeah.
and experience their markets.
what way are they
Yeah.
doing it? You
Yeah,
know?
because
Yeah.
it's fascinating.
Yeah, for
It is-
sure.
It gives you a different perspective, even with Amsterdam, the social idea. of it,
Absolutely.
That way, yeah.
Yeah, like everywhere's
nice
like
approach.
we have the coffee shops, but we're limited on what we have. The
Yeah.
cannabis clubs in Spain are members owned.
Yes.
Everywhere has Germany. You can grow your own, but you can't buy it anywhere.
Right.
So everywhere has a
It's a
in
mad
America,
one.
you can go to a fucking pharmacy like place and then go home.
Yeah.
So nowhere's got it the same. It's crazy, you know what I mean? So it's,
And that's what makes it so difficult.
yeah, so it's interesting to see where it will level out as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What will be the norm in 20, 30 years?
Even in America, every state has completely different rules and regulations.
So you legalized the same time as Washington.
California.
No, California was later than yours.
Colorado and Washington legalized.
Oh, the
Yeah.
same.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
same. We're
yeah.
like a month apart.
No, California was a few years later, I think.
California was, they legalized for rec.
Yeah, for recreation.
Medical,
no, for
they
medical
had.
they were like 99 or
Yeah.
something like that.
6 maybe.
But I remember after a year or two of yous being legal, they put up a comparison between what yous were doing and Washington was doing, and yous were blowing them out of the water. Like Washington just didn't get it right at all. Like they weren't,
Yep.
the money wasn't coming in, the crime wasn't going down, all the benefits that Colorado's in, Washington just didn't get it right. So
And then you have a
Yeah.
state like Nevada who went from medical to recreational in like 6 months. It was like
Yeah.
the fastest turnaround in
Okay,
the entire
yeah.
country. And they did it all right because they came to places like Colorado and learned about our market and then
Yeah.
perfected it.
yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
It is. It's taking everyone's ways and making
Yeah.
the best. Yeah.
And what was it like when it first legalized?
I actually got to be at the dispensary where the first purchase was made
No
that morning.
way.
Yeah,
That's
it
nice.
was one of the coolest things I'll probably ever get
Yeah,
to
for
experience.
sure.
It was media cameras from every single media outlet you've ever and never heard
Yeah.
of, and the line was like. Oh, I can't even
It was
imagine
mile
how long
long,
it was.
yeah.
Yeah, and these people had come from all over the U.S. and they
buy the
stood in
first
the
legal
snow
weed.
all night long, just waiting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Waiting for that
What a
moment.
You can
like,
imagine
you know
It
the
what I mean?
was.
energy along
I got to
that line.
hand
Yeah.
out.
I'd say everyone was smoking in the line,
Yeah.
waiting
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
They definitely didn't allow that. There were
Yeah.
cops everywhere, but they had these documents that they created that were like, do this, don't do that. You know, don't drive stoned. If you
Yeah.
do, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I got to hand out those to
Oh,
people. And
nice.
so as I went along, I was like, where are you from? How long have you
No
been here?
way.
Because to
Hearing all
feel
these
their
stories.
excitement
Yeah.
was even more, because I'd been a patient already for 4 years.
Okay, so you've already been getting medical
I had
weed
been-
and,
That
yeah.
kind of peace
You
of
know,
mind.
yeah.
You've been buying it
Literally,
legally and
yeah.
stuff.
And so to then, I actually assisted the dispensary I worked for into becoming one of the first recreational dispensaries in the state.
Oh, nice.
And so to be a part of that and then to be there when the first sale was made, it
Yeah.
was just,
Yeah,
it was
like,
the coolest
Yeah.
thing ever. I was like, oh my God, this is real. Like,
Yeah.
this is really happening. You're over 21, so you can walk in there and legally buy cannabis.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Your whole
Now.
your whole life you've been a criminal, and now
Yes.
you're going in
Yes.
like a customer.
oh,
Coming from Florida to
Yeah.
Colorado in 2010 as a medical patient, I lost friends and family that got mad at me because the first time I purchased medical cannabis, I put it on my Facebook.
Okay.
And all these people were like, Jordan, you can't put that online. And I was like, yeah, I can. I'm in a legal state. And they were
Yeah.
like, but Facebook isn't a legal state. And I was like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I just bought this legal weed. Look at it.
Welcome to the
I'm
internet.
excited.
Yeah.
Welcome to my new life.
Yeah.
And so since that, 14 years of being my most authentic self.
Yeah. No,
Because
for sure.
Cannabis was the one thing that really made me, I don't know the word, like an outlaw, like you're not,
Your kills
looked
out.
down upon because you're a stoner.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I was surrounded by people just like me
Yeah.
that all smoked weed every
Yeah.
day and were intelligent and business owners
Yeah.
and creatives and artists and, like my favorite kind of people.
Yeah.
But we all consumed cannabis legally,
yeah.
medically. And so,
It's
there
just
was no
sounded-
turning
It
back.
changes your own perspective because you
Absolutely.
kind of get a little bit wish-wash, being like, "Am I bad? Should I be
Yeah.
smoking?"
Oh,
Is it
yeah.
ju-" But I always say there's people that don't consume anything that don't get their shit done.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, if you're lazy, you're lazy. You
Right.
can't blame the plant.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean?
It's not the plant's
Some
fault.
days you have a joint and you're not feeling it, totally. But that happens with anyone.
Yeah.
But if you're not getting your shit done, you can't blame that.
Yeah,
That's on
no,
you.
for
You
sure.
know what I mean?
But I
Yeah.
was just saying,
Absolutely.
beautiful,
everything she
yeah.
said there, it's like when we moved to Amsterdam and you get
Yeah.
to meet, instead of being the stoner of a group, you
Yeah.
meet a group of stoners. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And it's
Yeah.
such
Yes.
a change, you know what I
Yes.
mean? Like,
You just feel at
coming
home.
from Ireland, everybody drinks. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
at the age of 12, we're out drinking. You know what I mean? So by the age of like 21, 22, I was done with drinking. I'd been in pubs for like since I was 14, 15, you know what I mean? So, and then like there was one or two people that got stoned, one or two others that'd be half and half, and then the rest that just drank the whole time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then come here and everybody's on the same wavelength, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Everyone's
It's
just,
beautiful.
yeah, and as you
Yeah.
said, they're not like just, we're stoned, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
society would have you believe, you know what I mean? They're intelligent entrepreneurs, business,
Yes.
like, you know what I mean? Everyone we know here is hustling. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
it's expensive city, so you kind of got it, but
But, it is,
but everyone,
it's that drive.
yeah.
But it's
Yes,
not just even
drive.
like hustling, it's the creative.
yeah, even that's
So
it.
many of our people are coming up with new ideas, new businesses, it's phenomenal.
Yeah,
It is. And I think it's as well because there's a community forming.
Yes.
It like encourages it.
yeah.
'Cause you're
Yeah.
like, wait, if they're doing something, I can do
Yeah,
something.
no,
you
for
know what I
sure.
mean? It's like that brings
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
Because at home, people are like, "Well, you're gonna start your own business? Where are you gonna?"
Yeah,
like
there's not
if I said I was starting a podcast, like, to get Joe Rogan or something, you know what I mean? Like, no, I just want to fucking, as I said, have a bit of crack with some people.
Yeah.
But over here, if you say to people like, "That's a good idea," at home they'll be like, "This fella," you know what I mean?
Right.
So
It's a beautiful.
yeah,
it's
to have
more-
that mindset.
Yeah.
Authentic. You get to be authentically
yeah,
you.
for sure,
It really
100%,
is, yeah.
with no fear. There's just that. You know what I mean? You can do what you want without having to look over your shoulder and worry about what you're doing and stuff. The freedom, it's amazing.
Yes, it really is.
Yeah, no, they do.
We better hear from you, Ben.
I was gonna say I was just letting her have the floor. But the one thing you guys don't have is the freedom to grow, though.
No, that's it.
No.
Well, we're not legal here. We don't really have freedom. We kind of, we're just left to. If you're not an asshole, you can do what you want. That kind of freedom, you know what I mean? It's not the
Stay
ultimate
tolerant.
freedom, but yeah, like it's.
It's
The police
very
don't
much
really fuck with
intolerance.
people, you know what I mean? If you're not an
Right.
idiot, they don't want the paperwork, you know what I mean? So,
Right.
but yeah,
Yeah, the
Yeah.
grow is the thing. Like we're technically allowed, what's it?
4 or 5 plants outdoor.
outdoors.
Okay.
But if a neighbour has an issue or anything, then they can be removed.
And we live in the Netherlands. Outdoor means you've got a 3-month window at best. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
so you
and
wanna go
rain.
it
grow.
rained right in the middle of July this year. You know what I mean? When the
Yeah.
fuck are you gonna grow it? So I don't know.
Raids every day.
Yeah.
So that is like the beauty with Germany. That's their switch.
Yeah.
They went straight to, okay guys, yous can all grow tree plants at home, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah, that was a huge case or a huge advancement for everyone on this
Yeah.
side. But yeah, because Spain is the same way. You know, when we were in Spain, similar to here, like the growing community is there.
Yeah.
And, like just because we were there for a few days doesn't mean we know the community.
No, but you got to
they,
see.
but
a
it was
glimpse of
it's not as forthright. You know, they're not as
Yeah.
forthcoming about it. Like in Colorado, I can openly teach people how to grow weed and
Yeah.
not worry about the implications of that.
Okay,
you know, and,
nice.
Okay,
like-
so can you host like classes and
So
like
I
workshops?
do online classes. I developed a program for first time growers to
Oh,
kind of go
nice.
from seed to harvest.
Beautiful.
And the pitch was, we started in January and it was like smoke your own weed by 420. And
Okay,
That's
that
a
is-
nice.
yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
lovely
What's that page
incentive,
called?
Yeah.
that's the Grow Horde.
The
So
Grow?
it's Grow Horde.
Horde.
So,
Hort.
Hort.
H-O-R-T.
H-O-R-T,
Yeah, yeah.
okay. I'll put up at
Yeah.
the bottom.
Yeah. .co. But yeah. I don't like. There's a new generation of home grower in the U.S. that's coming about as the market normalizes, as more people have legal access.
Yeah.
The incentive to have the side hustle is harder to come by. Like,
Yeah.
there will always be a boutique connoisseur market. And
Yeah.
if you are really good at what you do, or you really want the best stuff, you'll go wherever it is to find it.
Of course.
And that market will never die.
No. of
But
course.
the mass produced or the larger produced decent weed
Yeah.
that your buddy's growing in his basement because it pays for his trip every year to the vacation
Yeah.
or whatever, that's going away because the market is so competitive and legal weed is so cheap that the ROI is just not there.
Yeah.
And you have to
So
hustle
you
a
either
lot
grow
harder
for
to get
yourself
there.
or you
So
don't
you
grow
grow
it.
for
Or
yourself.
improve the quality.
Yeah, or get
Yeah.
better. Yeah.
yeah, for
Get
yourself
better
Or
or
too.
die trying.
quality,
It
yeah.
benefits you as well.
100%.
When
But
you're smoking it, yeah.
yeah, the people who will be growing are the people who want to be growing and who enjoy growing
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's getting to a point where right now you can save a fair amount if you consume a fair amount.
Yeah.
We talked about before we started, like, we don't grow enough to keep up with our own consumption,
Yeah.
and so we
He
never
said he
have
doesn't- He
extra.
doesn't even give any out. So, 'cause it's-
Beautiful.
Right, we don't
Yeah.
have the extra,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of people will get to that point where they're growing to meet their own needs.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they may swap with other growers and kind of trade, but it's not a I'm doing this as a there's a profit
Yeah,
incentive.
well, there is profit. You're not spending, so
Right,
it's
exactly.
that's if I didn't have to buy weed, I'd be rich. You know what I mean? Like that's where most of my money goes. So yeah, definitely.
So, but it's a new thought. You know, the home grower is looked at as this kind of black market criminal, and in many ways, it's people who have jobs. Like I'm a writer, so my income doesn't depend on the grow.
No.
It doesn't depend on my ability to produce weed. And that's abnormal in this space.
Yeah, of course.
There's a lot of income dependence that's tied to
They're doing
this
it for a
crop.
reason.
Yeah.
And so kind of being the example and being very forthcoming about, hey, you know, I am somebody who has a career as a writer who just enjoys this as a hobby.
Yeah.
Produce a small amount, and I just kind of figure out how to do things at home and then share them with people who also want to do that at home.
Nice.
Because if you don't have a lot of time to spend on YouTube or to spend on the forums, like you can spend 60 hours or 600 hours and learn most of this stuff.
Yeah, of course.
But if you don't have that time or the insight even into where to start, it needs to be packaged in a more accessible way.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where
Quick
writers
bullet
like me
points,
step
yeah,
in.
yeah.
And they're like, hey, this is how to grow. You know, this is the basics. Let's get you.
That's it. You click on a video, somebody's
Which
there
you can
waffling for
understand.
3 hours. You're like, I didn't get any of that. You know what I mean? Like, you need someone there, right? Talk to me like I'm an idiot. Tell me how to do this. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And don't judge me while I'm learning.
Yeah,
You know?
that's
No,
it.
and
100%.
exactly that gives someone a safe space to be like, look, here's the basic steps.
Yeah.
And then when you want to advance, you want to go a bit more special, you can, but you're confident in your basic growing
Yeah, that's
skills.
it. You get
which
the
is-
basics right
yeah.
first, then everything should be easy after that.
So nice. It's a really lovely approach to just to give more people. You know what I mean? And even as you're saying, somewhere to go, because especially nowadays with the internet, you type one thing in, and it's like 50,000 search results.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
what the fuck?
Yeah.
Where do I begin? But
Right.
if there's somewhere that people know there's an actual space, it's beautiful.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, it has long been a history of secrecy in these underground kind of networks in order to maintain the growing culture.
Yeah.
And I'm sure especially so in, you know, the Netherlands. and
That's what
Europe.
people used to have to go to the cannabis college and rent out
Literally
books and
thinking
learn
that,
from
yeah.
that. You know what I mean? That was the mecca of how do I
Right.
find out? They do a pilgrimage to Amsterdam, go into the college, right.
I
learn
mean,
all
even
that
as a
stuff
young
and-
smoker, like I would hear about the old pilgrimage to come get seeds.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
things like
That's
that.
it.
And now, you know, we have seeds. being
They're
produced
fucking everywhere.
domestically,
Seeds,
too.
clones,
Yeah.
whatever you want. Yeah.
But yeah, growing is it's more accessible than ever, and I think there is a stigma around it being this sort of criminal sales oriented
Yeah.
activity, and it can be just like house plants or
Yeah,
bonsais.
or your
Tomatoes,
your
your
garden
vegetables,
out the
or
back.
your
Yeah.
herbs.
Absolutely,
Yes.
we planted our first plant outside this year just
Oh,
for fun
nice.
in the garden.
Yeah, just here.
Just
to
It's
see
a
how it
movie
goes.
house. Yeah.
Yeah, so
And how many plants you have at the moment?
I have 8 plants right now because I killed everything, and
Okay.
so I'm growing all autos right now while I do some resetting of my grow.
Intentionally killed
Intentionally
everything.
killed everything. Yes,
Let's
not,
clarify
not
that.
an accidental. You know, I wrote a book.
Views just went down on his
Yeah, I know. I'm like,
This guy's got a
hold
clue what he's talking about.
I wrote a book with my co-author Zach Ricciardi, who's an expert in IPM, integrated pest management, and you know, there's a certain time where you can fix most things.
Yeah.
But there's also this knowledge of, you know, what you're going to have to do to get to the finish line, and the knowledge of the product itself
worth
being
it?
potentially tainted.
Yeah.
And because I'm doing this as a hobby and it's for fun, you know,
Yeah.
like there's that element that, like, is it fun to do all of that extra work to fix
To
this,
maybe
live
get it good.
potentially.
Yeah.
And so that's how the plants ended up dying, and I
Okay.
ended up with new seeds in the soil.
Okay.
But
And what
I
happened?
suppose that's learning too.
Absolutely.
To actually tell people here, if it's gone to this stage,
Yeah.
it's not good to smoke, or you're better off not.
And
So you
what
kind
did
of have
happen
to
to
fuck
them?
up to learn.
So I got PM. I was traveling
Powdery
for a few
mildew.
weeks. Powdery mildew.
Yeah.
After
Dumb it down for us too.
So it's a white powder that can show up in your grow. And it popped up. I started treating it, and a few things happened. I introduced some new plants. I had too many plants in the same space. I was traveling for 3 weeks. The chemistries that I was using were expired by a few years. You know, I was
Okay.
stacked up against me as far
Yeah,
as the
yeah.
odds. And it got the better of me,
Yeah,
and I just
happens.
decided, like, I can continue to try to fight this and live it, or I can ditch it, start over, get a fresh start,
No, for sure.
and try some fresh plants. So
Yeah.
I've got 8 new seeds. They're autos that are in, 7 in the bed, and then I planted 1 in a 10-gallon soil pot. So we're gonna see what she
Nice.
does.
Nice.
Nice even then to see if they're from the same like source. how they do in both like elements, which is cool
Yeah.
to see.
So I've got 4 different genetics. I've got the Sweet GDP, which is a sweet granddaddy perp, the Upaya, Chemd I-95 cross the Banana Daddy, and
Names are meant
then
plenty.
and then the Oh My Thai, which is a
Oh My
pineapple rose
Thai.
crossed with purple Thai.
Okay.
So and those
There's
are
so
all
many
Some
names.
of these we haven't even
That-
got
that's what I
here.
was saying earlier.
Like some of the others, you're like, what's the granddaddy?
so the granddaddy
Purple, that'd
purple.
be more-
That's one of the only ones I heard knew.
Yeah,
And I heard
whereas
them
a
runs
lot
at
of
some
them would be
stage.
a lot more of like the new, like American.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would say
That
these
way,
are
yeah.
these are all either Ethos or Happy Valley genetics.
Yeah.
Nice.
And you know they're modern breeders in our cannabis
Yeah.
industry. They've been doing it for a while, but yeah, I would say it's more on the American side of modern breeding
Yeah.
for sure. But yeah, and autoflowers have come a long way as well. So
Do you lose anything with autoflower, or it's
so old school autos don't have a great reputation.
Yeah.
But modern breeders have now focused on doing autos. Some of them have been doing it for quite some time, just under the radar.
Yeah.
And are coming forward with some of these genetic lines that are very close to photos.
Okay.
And what we've traditionally recognized as desirable bag appeal.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so it's possible now to get that from an autoflower. And not everybody's gonna do it.
Yeah.
Just like any other, just like a photo, like you can plant it, it's gonna grow like a weed. It's not gonna maybe be the best weed you've
Yeah,
ever
of
seen, or
course.
you can grow it well.
Yeah.
Same with an autoflower.
Yeah.
I use them for beginners because similar to driving, it's just one less thing to learn.
Yeah.
Figuring it out, and there's a lot of
Perfect this
benefit
and then worry
to
about the
Yeah.
start
Right.
after. Yeah.
And certain mistakes that are very common, such as issues with the lights, they can be avoided with autos because autos transition naturally.
Okay.
It doesn't matter what you're doing with the lights.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
And what?
I
I
didn't
say,
know that.
what lights do you use?
So I use HLG lights, horticulture lighting group.
Okay.
I have an
They like an LED kind of.
Yeah, they're LEDs, and all of my lights are LEDs.
Yeah.
So I started
and
with
that's
an
much
HDS.
cheaper now. Yeah.
It's
compared
cheaper,
to old
it's-
school halogens and shit.
It's got there's a lot of benefits. There's no extra heat that I have to manage getting out of the tent.
Yeah.
As a small grower in tents, heat is a big issue. It's a common
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So managing those sources is key. Also, the power consumption is
Yeah.
big because
And you
I
can change the colors as well. That has
change
a
the colors,
difference.
You can change the intensity. You can play with a lot.
A lot more control then. Yeah.
So,
That's interesting.
but again, on the flip side, for beginners, a lot of that's overwhelming.
Yeah.
And like I didn't grow. I moved to Colorado 5 years before I started growing, and was intimidated by the process. I was like,
Yeah.
this,
Oh, I can
this
imagine.
seems too complicated. I'm
Yeah.
gonna screw it up. I'm gonna invest all this money. I'm gonna invest all this time and throw it. It's just gonna be a waste. And it's a lot easier, especially now with the amount of information that's out there.
Yeah.
I encourage everyone, even if it's just a garden plant or a windowsill plant, to
Yeah.
try
Yeah.
growing once in their life.
Yeah,
if
no,
they
for
consume
sure.
cannabis.
Yeah, no,
I've
it's
never.
closed.
You've done a hemp plant or something. You said.
Yeah, I grew a little hemp plant.
That's
She
the
was so
closest.
cute. Oh, I loved it. Because I know they can grow to like 13 feet, but because it was before I moved here, actually. She only grew to like about 2 foot or so tall. So sweet. I cannot wait to grow.
Yeah, no,
I
I've never
cannot
tried
wait,
it. I haven't had the right setup and been moving
Yeah,
around too much
it's
and shit.
even the
But
peace of mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That I think stops people.
and
as
I also
well,
think I'm
the-
going to put in a lot of effort. It's going to come out shit, and I'm not even going to want to smoke it. That's my biggest fear as well. You know what I mean?
But
I'm
the
like,
first might, and you
Yeah.
kind of have to like fuck it.
yeah.
It's
But then you're
that
stuck with this big
process.
batch, like, oh fuck it. You know what I mean?
Well, it is, like your
Yeah.
first grow is not going to be your
No,
best
of course,
grow. Like,
yeah.
Even with the most help, you can do pretty well, but
Yeah.
there's always
No,
going to be
you
something.
need to. You
Yeah.
need to fail and then learn from everything. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? It's,
When we were first dating, we decided not to do just go home and watch TV. You
Yeah.
know? So like, what else can we do? Well, let's grow some stuff. So we
Yeah.
went and we bought soil and we bought all these plants and we got everything done. And he said, I have a couple of cannabis seeds, but I don't know how to grow them. And I
Nice.
said, with
So
that
you-
attitude, they'll never
you only
grow.
start growing when you're met.
So
Yeah.
no, so we've been together 2 years, a year and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we met through events. I used to throw events.
And I
Yeah.
used to be the executive director of a NORML chapter, the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws.
Whoa, that's a lot.
So I know. It's called NORML. In the States, we call it NORML, NORML. I had to say it because if I just said normal, you would think I was just saying the word normal.
No, I get you.
But it's NORML.
Okay.
And so it's that long-ass explanation I just gave you. But that was how we met. He was in a NORML chapter in college, and
Yeah.
I had started a NORML chapter in Denver.
I would have definitely taught just normal if you had said
Yeah,
that.
I know.
She's in a normal college, I'm in a
She
normal
went to
college.
normal. Okay, cool.
What's a non-normal college?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that was how we met. Was we actually created an adult summer camp that was cannabis centric,
Nice.
and we had blunts and crafts, and we had all of these other like events or like classes
Yeah.
at the event that were just about cannabis and
That's
camping.
amazing.
That's so big.
So when
We
you
had the best
when you
time.
found Puff Puff Paint, you were
Oh, I was freaking out. I
Oh
was like,
my
oh my gosh,
God.
this is exactly what I need to be doing.
yeah, on your
And
birthday.
it's on my birthday.
Yeah.
I freaked
And this
out.
is something you could bring to the spa as well.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That could be so
That's
fitting.
therapeutic. You know what I mean? Some nice
Yes.
music.
Oh,
a bit
art
of
is
oil.
so therapeutic.
Yeah.
Get a massage, go out and paint. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was how we met. We
Amazing.
met
It's
because
exciting.
of cannabis, and then like a year and a half into dating.
Yeah, I
started growing.
Nice.
My plant got about, like you were talking about the other guy, it was like this
Yeah.
big. And I had a neighbor that was very friendly but very nosy. Like to the point where if my dog was gone for a few days, she'd be like, "Did the dog die?"
Okay.
Like, no.
Weird.
We just have, so anyway, so I was afraid that she was going to notice my tiny little plant and freaked out and was like, either I'm killing this thing or I'm investing in a grow tent.
I was
And
like, don't
so
kill it.
I decided to go with the grow tent. You know, I had problems. I had PM my first grow. Haven't had it till this most recent issue. But now as a more seasoned grower, one, I've seen it before. I knew what to look for. I knew what it was. But two, working with other people in the field like Zach, I have the benefit of a lot of knowledge that I can tap into either in the form of assets we've created, like the books and the magazines, or just talking to the people in my life that I've met that are
Surround
fellow
yourself with the
growers.
right people.
Right, and knowing that nothing is the end of the world. You know, nothing is unfixable, and even the things that are unfixable, like it's not the end of the grow. It's there's a lot of things that'll come from it. So
It's nature.
like you said, if you've never faced an obstacle,
Yeah.
how good of a grower are you?
No, that's
really?
it. You know what I mean? You don't know it all. You know what I mean? You can't. What do you do if this happens one day? You know what I mean? Just because you've been looking for 10 years, the next year you get something, you don't know how to fix it. How good of a grower are you? So yeah, no, you got to learn from all that kind of them fails. Teach you a lot quicker than them fucking growers.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Ladies want to drink?
I have
water.
I have everything
Have
I need
waters,
here.
cola.
I have my tea and my water. Thank you.
Dry mouth. We need to talk about your wedding picture.
Ah, yes.
Because that ties into the grow as
Yeah.
well.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. So, yeah.
I'm going to put a
You
picture
tell 'em what
up on
you
the
grew.
screen.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah.
I'll give you a good one.
So about, I would say, I mean, we knew this was going to be a thing all along, but when we really started planning the wedding after we were engaged, the plan, about 18 months from the wedding, we had to backtrack to make sure we had everything done because I was finishing the grows up at the time, but also had to time our most recent harvest for the wedding exactly to the date that the florist needed the flowers to assemble into bouquets, things like that. So
Yeah.
so the teaser is that we did cannabis flowers for our wedding.
Yeah.
That were in Jordan's wedding bouquet, the bridal bouquets, the
Every table
boutonnieres.
arrangement, every boutonniere,
Yeah.
There was flower, like weed flower in
Yes.
everywhere.
Live cannabis plants that were
So if I was sitting at the
Everywhere.
table, I could have just,
Oh yeah, it was right,
like a grape,
right in the center.
just picked it off.
Mhm.
Yeah, like
Wow.
end of week 8, just chopped fresh, brought them to the over to the florist. But it was a whole process to get
And
the
yes,
florist
to
on
a
board.
florist. That's what my brain's going
So
to.
yeah, the
This is
florist, we
random.
had to get special permission from both the florist and the venue to allow this to be, and I kept reiterating, it's just a flower.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you to set my bouquet on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Nobody's
asking
getting
you
high
to
here.
just carry
Truly,
it down
they
the
were dropped
aisle.
off
Yeah.
in soil pots, like big 5-gallon.
Yeah, we took the
you know,
whole plants
No
to the
way.
milliliter
florist.
pots.
And so in my initial meeting, I brought some photos of the flower, and I said, this is what I want to use as the primary flower. I don't want any other flowers in my bouquet.
Yeah.
And she looks at the picture and she pushes it back across the table and she says, we don't have those here. And I said, no, I know that. That's at my house.
I got you.
I'm going to supply that. I'm asking you if you'll arrange it with other things that are not flowers.
Yeah.
And she was like, I don't know. I mean, okay, I guess before I even bother asking permission, let me just see if I can get your vision in my head. And she just went to the cooler and brought all these things, and I wanted all of them. I was like, you get it already.
Yeah.
Like, this is exactly what I saw in my mind for fall, and it was so perfect. So the one thing I did not count on was the weight of wet cannabis.
Okay.
My bouquet weighed over 10 pounds. And so you're supposed to like hold your flowers at like a certain point on your body, and I had to like hold them up here to like base my arms because I was like I could not believe how heavy it was. And so
You didn't throw it at anybody, did you?
no, that was like the number one question. We threw one of the smaller ones,
Okay.
and then it got to keep that to take it home. And then
I
all
would
the
have been in with the bridesmaids. I'll take
Oh
that.
yeah, all the bridesmaids got to take their bouquet home, the groomsmen and their boutonnieres, and then I
Nice.
told the guest at whatever table, if you want to take your centerpiece home, please feel free. And so everyone was just taking off the tables. People that worked at the event were asking us if they could have pieces of it. Like
Nice.
it was so amazing because one of my primary goals was to really just smash stereotypes for our family. I wanted them to see that it's just a beautiful plant. It doesn't have to be all of the things that you think it is. It's not scary. It's beautiful, and it's on your table.
Yeah.
And I'm carrying it, and
It's there
he's
for
wearing
the-
it.
Yes.
Well,
Enjoy.
on the nose, it was a non-consumption wedding.
Yeah.
Part of the Colorado's laws are that caterers, bartenders, things like that have a liquor license, they cannot have active cannabis consumption.
Okay. That was going to be my
Coexist.
next question.
And so, even though the venue doesn't have a license, the caterer they work with does, so they on the nose do not allow it.
Yeah.
But our desire was to have as much cannabis present in some form or another.
Okay.
And so we ended up with a lot of different touch points that required, a year and a half of planning. I did cigars for my groomsmen that were each 5 to 7 grams of flower that I grew. All of this was sherbet.
So just blunts, like.
Yeah, and then wrapped in cigar paper.
Yeah.
That he wax sealed.
Wax
Nice.
sealed, but they were aged for a few months, and then we wax sealed them with our crest and all these different
Nice.
things, and really went above and beyond. We did that.
It was
And
on the
then
cake. There was the cannabis
There was
flowers
cannabis
were
on
all
the
over the
cake.
cake.
We used this company that makes chocolate nugs, and
Cocoa nugs.
Cocoa nugs, yeah. And so we got a whole bunch of their pound bags and filled little jars of like weed jars and made labels for them and sealed them up right. And
To make it look exactly like weed.
they looked like weed, but it was chocolate.
Okay.
and-
I've seen them chocolates before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was everyone's
And I was so
favorite.
disappointed
Yeah.
when I picked it up. I was like, oh,
We did have 2 people
I'll
try
eat
to
it,
smoke
but I
them.
don't know.
No way.
But
Yes.
one
Put
got
that
through
in
a
your
whole bowl.
grinder.
I
Oh,
don't know.
God.
But yeah,
Well, I ended
so
up
we
into
did
the
that.
pipe.
We had the live flowers everywhere, and then I also grew. So I grew basically 3 crops that were all dedicated to this.
Nice.
And we had some souvenirs for people who got to enjoy them if they were cannabis consumers. Otherwise, you got the chocolate, and just really tried to weave it in as the theme that normalized it. My
Yeah.
boutonniere was it. All the bridesmaids, some of them who don't smoke, still held cannabis
Yeah.
bouquets. And
It's just a flower.
and same with the groomsmen. The
Yeah.
ones that didn't smoke, they participated. They had boutonnieres, and so
Yeah.
there was still a way to weave it all in that
That's
everybody
nice.
could enjoy.
And then we have a tradition in America that you keep a piece of your wedding cake for a year, and then on your year anniversary, you eat it. You keep it in
Okay.
the freezer,
Yeah,
and then you
yeah.
defrost it and you eat it. Well, I don't like that at all, and I don't like cake really. I prefer like cupcakes. And so I cured my bouquet, and we're going to smoke the 2.5 ounces on our 1-year anniversary.
Nice. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's
Every time I open it, it smells better. And I'm like,
Okay.
yes,
Oh.
it's gonna be
So
amazing.
how long are you married now?
It's October 20th of last year, so
So
not even a year yet.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, another
Together
few months.
6 years, almost married a year.
Nice.
Not quite yet. Yeah.
But yeah, that would be a nice smoke up.
Yes. And it's just for everyone in America that understands that tradition, it's like it truly is the icing on the cake that we're doing.
Make it your own.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's
just
amazing.
another way to incorporate.
But it's
plant we
nice to
love.
show people again a different way about it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's not the stereotypical. Actually, there's so much more. Your little details with the jars, everything.
Thank you.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. I'm totally gonna give you those pictures too. 'Cause
Yeah, no,
your
for
guests
sure.
are gonna be like, "What?"
I'm really waiting
He
to
did
see this,
He has a degree, master's degree, in marketing and in branding, and he did all of it for the wedding, and it was just
Journalism.
so perfect
Okay.
because both jars were almost identical.
Yeah.
And so the people that did get the cannabis jars, when they got the one at their place setting at the wedding itself,
Thought
they
they
all
got
thought they
another.
got more weed.
Yeah, that's
And so they
hilarious.
opened it and they were like, "Wait a minute, this looks different." And on it says right on
Smells
it,
a
it's
bit
candy.
different,
Well, my brother, I hope he hears this. My brother said he opened it and it said cookies and cream on the outside of the label, and he said he looked at our friend Josh and he said, "Dude, Ben has mastered growing so much, it literally smells like cookies and cream."
Beautiful. You got
I'm like,
it.
"Yep, because those are cookies."
Yeah.
But yeah, it was an incredible day. It was really just amazing, like you said, just to show people another side
Normalize it.
of the plant.
Yeah.
And my father didn't understand it. Even when I moved here, his mother, when we first started dating, didn't understand it. And now they all truly, they don't just get it, they respect it.
Yeah.
Because they see what we've done with our lives, and they see that we're not just productive, we're hyper productive.
Yeah, of course.
And we're successful, and we're
Yeah.
both, like you said, we're hustlers.
Yeah.
We're always trying to figure out
Yeah.
what are we going to do next,
But
and what
for
are we going to add
food
to.
more than
Yeah.
money, you know what I mean? You
Yes.
do stuff you like, and because
Exactly.
you know what I
Yeah,
mean,
you
because that's what you
Passion.
want to do. Yeah,
Yeah,
your creative side and the stuff you
Passion-driven.
like doing. You know what I mean? And I think
absolutely.
weed helps you find that what you like doing, and then if you can make a living out of it, all the better. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Bonus.
Yeah, bonus.
Well, good to know.
Oh man.
Kind of exciting.
So yeah, so on the growing front though, it's interesting because we don't really shop that much anymore.
Yeah.
You know, so this is like
Only when you
This
run
is-
out.
mass shopping for us. Yeah, only when we run out.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
all BHO. It's all
Yeah.
and there
Very
really
good.
isn't that scene here. There is truly the sift and
Yeah, no, it's just
old
the
Moroccan
basics, yeah.
Charas,
Yeah.
kind
Whatever
of
the laws were in the
traditional
80s,
hashish.
that's still what's happening now. You know what I mean? They haven't brought the book back out. What's wrong with the puppy?
Yeah, no, it's very dope. I do hear it's getting a little bit more. Like, I don't know, will you ever get like traditional Moroccan hash? Because even that's hard to find here
You,
Yeah.
in some spots.
he said he's trying to grow hash at the a hash plant at the moment, didn't you?
So yeah, well, so I grow. So and it's funny because like for
Charas. We found it.
Char, we
yeah,
did get
nice.
Charas.
Was that
That's from
Katsu?
Katsu.
Yep.
Yeah, nice.
Our
They're
friend
looking at the
Jair
shop.
over at DLI Dutch Lighting, he recommended them for Charas. So
Yeah,
shout out
they
Jair.
do. They've like lovely. They're known for like their traditional stuff, which like they've kind of like kept the genetics going strong. Yeah, no, Katsu's a beautiful shop.
Um,
And is there a difference of growing a hash plant to a weed plant?
So there in the U.S. when we say we're growing for hash, most of us are talking about for bubble hash.
Yeah, just
And
sif and
so-
archive and stuff.
So on our end, that is a focus on the resin versus the biomass.
Yeah.
And there's a focus on genetics. I think that there are certain conditions that you can push your plant to that have been discussed. Changes in temperature, changes in humidity, different methods of harvesting, different methods of freezing. The way that it's processed towards the end as you get ready to prepare it for
Okay.
extract.
Yeah.
But as far as growing it, you're looking for just the healthiest plant you can because the
Okay.
healthiest plant's going to produce the best resin.
Yeah.
And beyond that, it's some fine tuning. I suppose you
Yeah.
could do certain things, change lighting spectrums, do certain other aspects that would increase head size or decrease biomass to head ratio or things like
Yeah.
that. But overall, it's a focus on a healthy plant. It's a focus on the genetics.
So, yeah.
Like
Once you have a
there's
good seed to begin with, and you can keep
good
it well.
seed that has hash potential. You know, like there is just some stuff that doesn't, from a water hash perspective, it doesn't wash. Either
Okay.
it's volatile or it just doesn't yield very well,
Okay.
or you know, it's just not a productive use of the materials or the tools or the time.
Yeah.
And unless you're washing thousands of grams, like if you were doing outdoor and you had thousands of outdoor, you could make a lot of haze hash.
Okay.
But haze traditionally doesn't do very well in bubble hash.
Okay.
You know, lemony strains, haze strains often are harder for hash makers to find something because they don't trend towards hash potential.
Okay.
Okay.
But there is a lot of modern breeding going on now, and the people who are finding hash plants are then breeding them with other hash plants, and these are plants that have proven, as we say, washers. You know, they yield over 5% from fresh frozen material to bubble hash.
Okay.
And so 5% is kind of a misnomer because, again, you could have a 5% plant that is very small and you don't get very much out of, but it did 5%. You could have a giant plant that did 3%, but you still got an excess.
3% of a lot is a lot more.
Right. So a lot of us are moving towards a grams per square foot, grams per square meter kind of metric because
To measure it,
your
kinda.
final product from the space that you dedicate to.
Okay, yeah.
And that's a little bit easier.
You get a better gauge of it then.
Yeah, because there is this, you know, there's a bias towards percentages where I could dry out the material a little bit, and then, you know, I'm going to get a higher ratio because there's less water in there.
Okay.
So my percentages might be higher. Or you could run full spec numbers versus narrow spec. So a 25 micron all the way up to a 220 would be full spectrum, whereas a lot of extract in the U.S. is 45 to 160, 73 to 120, sometimes just 90 to 120.
Yeah.
And that throws off your numbers. Obviously, you're not getting your highest numbers for your finest microns.
Okay.
The actual return is very different then.
Yeah, return is important.
Well, it's
not-
a lot of work and
it's a
time
lot of work.
and a lot of flour to run through for.
And with the small grow, like as a hobbyist, I only have so much space and I only have so many plants. You know, I don't have the benefit of having a big greenhouse or big warehouse or things like that. So I have to make every square foot count.
Yeah, of course.
And
100%.
she's primarily a flower smoker. I'm primarily a solventless extract smoker. And
So you have to make it before she smokes it on you.
essentially.
Basically.
And yeah, I was like, oh, that one all went into the freezer. But I have to make, you know, my half of the grow, so to speak, that I'm growing primarily for solventless, get the most out of it.
Okay, yeah.
And so as much as, you know, I am searching very specific flavors and quality of melt and things that I have kept plants around that don't hit 5% nearly at all. They're in the low 2s. But eventually they get replaced because I can only grow so many plants per year. And if they don't make it through the one rotation, they don't make it through another year, eventually you start looking at it like, why do I still have this plant?
Yeah.
And
The resources,
it also,
everything,
you know, affects affects your plant counts.
Yeah.
I say the number one rule of Grow Club is that we don't talk about plant count, but the reality is that it does affect what you can and can't do as a small scale grower. It's not a licensed caregiver, not an operating some sort
Is there limits on what you can grow?
There is. So Colorado law is 6 per adult and 12 per household as a recreational state.
It is, and there's other places that have a lot more as well, isn't there?
And they used to
For
even
us, that
do
sounds
more.
amazing. For other people, like, what? That's shit. Like,
Yeah,
you
I
know?
know.
We used to be able to
But
get
I'm
up to
like-
99 in your home.
No, that's what I mean.
Yeah, they got rid of that years ago. But
God.
at one time, when I first moved there, it was a thing.
Yeah.
And no, like
Imagine
you're
the
keeping
count.
neighbors
Is
for
that the 100 one back there? Now you count that one twice.
Yeah.
99. Yeah,
That's
even
great.
that.
Yeah.
And
But sorry, go ahead. I was going to say, you know, it's an example of, and similar to the spa mono with the licensing, it's laws that are often written by people who don't have an experience.
Yeah,
in
we
the
talk about
subject
this
matter.
all the time.
You
People
know,
that don't know what to talk
A
about
plant
make it for
count
laws.
is very arbitrary. You can I know people who grow 12 plants and they get 60 pounds off of those 12 plants. You know, I grow 12 plants. I'm lucky to get 2 pounds. Really excited in a small space, but they can blow out a greenhouse. It's the same amount of plants.
Yeah.
And so the idea being to have some sort of threshold on your harvest or to curtail the diversion in the black market is not rooted in any sort of science.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like we
You
picked
just
a
chew
number.
It's
6
like
of
here,
it.
it's 5
Same.
grams, 500 grams for a shop, 5 grams for a person. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
just 5 works, 5 plants in your backyard. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's 5 work for everybody. Yeah, right. Let's go to lunch. You know what I mean? That's
Exactly.
That's how laws are made by
That sounds
idiots. You know what I
reasonable.
mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But like you said, the way that a lot of people do get around that have the space is like we grow in what size gallon bucket?
We have 5-gallon pots.
So we grow in
20
5-gallon
liter.
pots. So
Yeah.
there are people that grow in 60-gallon pots,
Jesus.
those 12 plants.
Okay, that's a big
And so they
difference.
literally
Yeah.
become trees in a
Yeah.
greenhouse. And so, but it's still legal
Because
because it's 12
How
plants.
big can weed plants get, like, and still produce good weed?
Well, in California, they
California's
literally
plants
grow
are huge.
trees. Like they grow
Like,
outdoor.
Is
Like-
the top stuff still as good as the bottom?
The top stuff
or-
is the best stuff.
Okay.
Those are your
Yeah.
colas.
So anything that's getting full sun is going to have the most
I
potential.
suppose,
to
yeah. I was
ripen.
thinking water coming up, not sun coming down. So
Yeah, no, definitely the colas, the big nugs that you get on those outdoor plants are always going to be your best looking part of the plant.
I'd love to
And they
see a
can
big
grow, I mean,
forest,
like 13 feet tall. Like they're literal trees.
There's a
And
tree house and we'll just live in it.
Well, and so if you look at like the history of the plant,
13 feet.
they say that in
Small trees.
places like the climate that where trees are all like think about the red trees.
Yeah,
They're
in
called
fucking
the
San
red.
Francisco.
Yes, those big red sequoia
Redwood
trees.
pines.
The redwood pine.
Yes.
Yeah.
So those trees can be so tall. So cannabis trees are simultaneously able to be very tall in those types of climates. So you can think about that. So then places that it was more desert-like,
Yeah.
those plants were more indica dominant
Yeah.
and more
Little
shrub-like.
Yeah,
They were
the
lower to the
ruderalis
ground
kinda-
because the wind in the desert.
Yeah,
Right?
they
so
gotta stay
there aren't
low.
tall plants. And so
Yeah.
if you look at literally just the history itself of the where the
The
different
natural genetics and stuff. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like adapted to
It-
its
exactly.
space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, you
Exactly.
really have to try and recreate that climate to get the best.
to get exactly that.
I remember Mila telling us about, I think it was in Afghanistan,
Yeah.
that like just before it's ready to harvest, it usually snows. And then they
Yeah.
wait for the snow to thaw off, and after it, it's been incubated and just like it comes
Yeah.
out and said it's just, that's how they get it. But it's only because they're natural climate. You can't even recreate that.
Right, no.
You can't just
You
put a load
can't
of
do
ice
that in a
your-
lab.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Freeze your basement up real quick.
So literally they just
Snow
wait,
machine.
and then after that it comes out and it's better. Like if they had done it right before, it would have been fucked, and now it just comes out perfect. They said, yeah, and that's just natural environment.
Yeah.
That's
Life
incredible.
finds a way.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
yes. I
Well,
mean, it's a weed.
It's
yeah.
a weed, exactly. that.
And California has done, a fair amount to establish terroir and appellation, and very similar to like denominant of origin.
Yeah,
The like different areas like Mendocino County and the NorCal areas and just different areas with different soils, different valleys, different sun
Yeah.
patterns. They all are now or can be categorized like wine.
okay.
So in the same way that you can't call champagne
Unless it's
it
grown
comes from
there.
champagne,
Okay.
you can now they're going to have that protection for cannabis because
Oh,
of that.
nice.
Those
If it
different
wasn't grown in these natural,
Nice. There's
Nice.
all these requirements. It can't be artificial in certain ways, and it has to
Yeah.
rely on certain soils.
like Moroccan
and
hash being
sunlight.
grown
Yeah.
somewhere else.
Right.
And so, right. But it is
Dutch
a
Moroccan
protection
hash.
for those growers and that legacy that they've established in the regions.
Yeah.
Same way they have done
That's
for
quite
wine.
Nice. That's kind of cool to kind of keep the history about. So
Yeah.
there's so many like mad, chaotic strains, and like all the traditional ones that like it started on are like dying off.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. They say it's almost impossible to find a true 100% what was originally known as an indica or 100% what was
Yeah.
originally known as
Oh,
a
of
sativa
course.
because of all the breeding that's
Yeah.
But
happened.
not only
They're
that,
all
think of all
hybrids
the
now. It's
grows
all
that have
one
been
of-
shut down or burnt or failed or anything. Like they're just lost to history. You know what I
Them
mean?
genetics.
The police come in and shut down a whole farm that had millions of seeds in it and just burnt it all. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's gone now forever.
Yeah,
we'll never get it
forever.
back. It's
Never get those strains
yeah.
again.
Yeah, UK cheese, and even
Yeah.
like I love my Moroccan hash.
Mm-hmm.
I never smoked hash until here, but once I did, I fell in love with Moroccan hash.
Mm-hmm.
And as like the years have gone on, it's been harder and harder to find it. And it's like, oh,
You came in at the tail end of it.
yeah. And literally, and I was lucky that like I met really, really lovely Moroccan people that were just like, I literally smelt their joint, and I was like,
Yeah.
what is that? Like that, my nose is just like, I need that. Yeah.
Yeah, the
No,
terpenes got
Yeah.
Well, so
Yeah.
here's something funny. So it is illegal in more states. Sorry, it's legal to grow weed in more states than it is legal to grow tobacco in the U.S.
Wow.
Wow.
So you can only legally grow tobacco in 5 states in the U.S.
It's crazy.
Where I think 27 states have the right to grow in some capacity.
Yeah, you never
medical,
hear of somebody having a little
recreational.
home grow of tobacco. You
No.
know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like,
No.
We've already started talking about
yeah,
it.
the prices it might be. You know what I mean?
We're like, fuck the cannabis.
How,
let's
lo-
start
how
growing
hard is it to grow
tobacco.
tobacco? Like, is it?
It's supposed to be pretty easy.
Oh,
I've
yeah?
never tried. I was gonna buy seeds. They're way cheaper than cannabis
Yeah,
seeds.
because he
Fuck,
likes
it might
to
be the
use
next
the
black
leaf.
market business. you know?
Right?
Yeah.
There you go. So black
He likes
market
to use
tobacco.
the leaf,
Yeah.
so that's where all the research
And
came from.
Could you
Many
make
have
your own
said, you know,
blunts?
what?
That's beautiful.
Could you make your own blunts if you had tobacco
Yeah, you
blunts?
could.
Yeah.
It's much cleaner as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's interesting.
So, and I've had friends throw a few seeds in their greenhouses, and they said the plants just get massive. I mean, if you think about a tobacco leaf,
Yeah.
like that's the leaf
Could-
of the whole plant. So,
Could you grow it
So
in the
it'd be
same
like a
kind
tree.
of? Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Could you grow it in the same kind of bed as the cannabis?
yeah, you could.
Could it then, when you make your blunt wrap, have some sort of? I don't know
think
how
it-
genetics works, but they're all in the same kind of. You know what I mean? Them
Oh,
fucking-
cannabis, like,
If they're all
tasting.
grown, or some sort of infusion, you know what I mean? If
Yeah.
they're all in the same soil, they're all eating off the same water.
So there is
the
something in
roots are touching,
mycelia.
maybe, you know what I mean? A little spark here and there, you know what I mean?
It's there is something to mycelium and how the fungi and the bacteria and all of the living organisms in the soil interact with each other
Yeah.
for sure. But I don't think it would
No.
make.
But it'd be good
tobacco.
marketing.
It'd be
These
dope.
blunt wraps were grown with the cannabis, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Well, it's like hemp-fed cows, or
Yeah.
we only fed them hemp, and so
people will lap that stuff up, you know what I mean?
absolutely.
A
I
new
wonder-
gimmick, I need it.
I wonder if you could graft a tobacco plant onto a cannabis plant or vice versa. And I wonder what would happen if you did
I'm
that.
not sure.
Like tobacco from The Simpsons.
And combine the two.
Yeah. I just, in my head, I just saw a video the other day of potatoes growing under the soil, and they grafted a tomato plant to the top. And so it was tomatoes on the top and potatoes on the bottom.
Interesting.
And my brain was like,
I've heard that they're
what
doing
else
2 or
can I
3
do?
plants on the same thing. Like,
yeah, they do it to citrus all
Yeah,
the
try
time.
explaining that
they
to a
graft
regulator.
citrus
yeah.
It's a tobacco.
onto citrus
That's
and
a
make like
weed.
pink lemons. And
Some people are like, both of
You know,
them are
things like
bad.
that.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. Can't do either
so
of
that's
those.
Even if that was a thing,
citrus
yeah.
grafting is a big thing. That's how they keep a lot of the genetics of various citrus plants.
So did you ever see like
Whoa.
corn and all back in the day? And
Oh
there's a
yeah,
few
with all the
different-
colors.
None of it was edible, and if like it's, I'll show you pictures later. There's a few different fruits and veg that didn't look like they're about this size,
Yeah.
and over genetics and just doing shit with it. Now we've corn on the cob and all this shit. Like it's
That's
Yeah.
crazy. Okay.
a lot of shit was just changed. You know what I mean? But I've heard about that crossing 2 or 3 plants grown like
Yeah.
different fruits or different veg
Grafting.
or whatever. It's
Yeah.
I suppose it's good for places that are limited to. You know what I mean? They're how much you can grow. Suddenly they've got a salad grown in their garden. You know what I mean? Just pick it up.
Yeah.
But come here, the dog's moaning, so we might leave it there. I have to go to work soon. Thank you so much for coming on. It was great having you.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for
Yeah,
having
for
us.
having us out.
And we'll
Honestly,
hopefully
it's
get over to Colorado at some stage, check out the spa.
Open door policy.
Yeah.
Come for the grand opening.
Oh, no, that'd be
Yeah,
amazing.
and when are you thinking this is
Well,
going to happen?
so the next legislative meeting that I'll be having will probably be at the end of September, the beginning of October.
Yeah.
That will be what's called first read of the ordinance.
Yeah.
Then we have second read, which is when they'll have a public hearing and people can come and give their feedback.
Okay,
And then
interesting.
it's passed into law. And so
Okay.
then once it's passed into law, I then apply to the city of Longmont. That's where I live. And then I begin the application process to the state of Colorado, which is then another additional 3 months. So we're
Jesus.
probably looking at late spring
Okay, yeah.
of 2025.
Okay.
But I mean,
Well done. That's a
I've
lot of
waited 10
changes you're
years.
Yeah,
making.
no,
you
yeah,
know,
no,
so
you,
it's
you
like
can see the finish line. Yeah, yeah.
exactly.
No,
I'm
that's
like,
phenomenal.
spring of 2025 is really like
You never knew there
next
was a
month.
finish line, and now there is one, and you can see it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I
no.
never knew this was going to be possible. At the beginning of this year, we passed a new regulation that allows for hospitality establishment licenses, spa model. And so they actually included the ability to originally just offer massage, but we're trying to do full head to toe,
Yeah.
Yeah.
all of the things.
It
Yeah.
would be beautiful. So you are actually doing a lot a lot of work, not
Yes.
just like the forefrontists are changing a lot of laws.
Yes.
Well done.
Nice.
No, really,
Thank
this
you.
because
It's
we need
amazing.
this work to
Oh,
happen. Because
yeah.
I think some people have got too comfortable and we're like, oh, we're blazing, we're there.
Yeah, it's legal.
The work
it's
is
the-
not done.
It's not.
It's not.
And
We need
no-
more
normal.
people going out.
Yeah,
Taught me that.
normal, yeah.
Normal taught me that. They taught me that politics is incremental and that it's very slow moving. And so at the first meeting we went to on January 9th, I had no idea if it was going to be until the following January 9th that they would even see me again, or if it was
Okay.
going to be 3 months later.
Yeah.
And so the progression that we've made just in the last 8 months is mind blowing.
Okay, nice.
We are
Yeah.
we're moving as far as politics goes.
Yeah.
We're moving fast.
Yeah.
Everyone in
Like,
my life is like, "What's taking so long?" And I'm like,
You
"If you
don't
only
realize-
understood
yeah.
from my ankle, this is like lightning speed for
Yeah.
politics."
No, literally,
So,
and
yeah.
for something so new to them.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not like just here, can we change this in an area? You're bringing a whole
Something
new
brand new,
perspective.
yeah.
Yes. So that's like
Yeah, no, look
pretty
forward to
solid
it.
going.
Thank you.
Yes.
We'll follow.
And so he's
You'll
very
be posting everything, I'm sure, on your
Yes,
Instagram, so we'll follow
absolutely.
with interest.
It's I haven't, and I mean, once this is live, people will then learn that way. But I probably still won't even make lots of posts about it because
Yeah.
I'm trying to just move quietly
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
until the law is mine, and
Yeah,
then once
yeah.
that happens, then
Then
I'm
we'll
gonna,
see all
then I'm
about
doing a
it.
press
Oh, guns
release.
blazing, yes.
Right,
Yeah.
but I just
Beautiful.
I want the city council to have the opportunity to make this law without having a lot of press attention.
Yeah, yeah.
Which
So that they
is
can just like
nice.
focus.
Too many eyes,
Let's
too
just
many
pass
mouths,
it.
Yeah.
Let's
too
just
many
get it
fucking
passed,
opinions.
and then you guys can do interviews later.
Yeah.
Because it's too many voices then
That's
coming in.
it.
They read a
Exactly.
headline.
When the
oh,
committee
wait,
gets
what about
together,
this?
you know what I mean?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And
So
so
very
I just
smart.
want them to just focus on
Yeah.
passing
Yeah,
the law
no,
and what
that's
they
it.
need to do, and then
Just
we'll tell the world later.
as quiet as possible. Just get in there, and
Exactly.
then we'll make a noise.
Yes.
Yeah,
No,
no,
that's
for sure.
amazing. You're creating a lot of opportunities. Like I'd say,
so.
there's like so many people out there that like have the same type of line of work as yourself, consume cannabis, and you've just opened a whole door.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of like,
That's it.
I'm resigning.
Yeah.
That's
I
the
have a
goal.
job.
I want
Yeah.
to be able to have a spa in every adult use state.
Yeah,
That's the
nice.
goal. You know,
Yeah.
like why wouldn't you?
Like so many girls set up their own little salon or kind of,
Exactly.
you know what I mean? So why not?
Why not have the
into it,
cannabis
you know what I mean?
infused?
Yeah.
It's
Create
better.
a community, yeah. By giving a space for more women, more people to come and everything.
Men
you
can
know.
do it too.
Yes,
Just
we
look,
do.
women in cannabis. I do.
We do.
Yeah.
We do need more women in
We
cannabis.
do. There was one girl at the judging session today. So yeah, no,
Right.
definitely.
Yeah. Fact.
Right, so thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Jordan and Ben, thank
Yes,
you so
thank
much.
you both so
Legends,
much.
really
So happy
great
to have
work.
met
Thank
you
you.
both.
Yeah, no, great
Yeah,
to
no,
meet you.
Thank
We'll
you
stay in
both for
contact.
what you're doing here.
No, thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah,
doing bits.
and I'm so happy we got to celebrate your birthday with you. And
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Thank
no,
you again
big
for
time.
this. This is my
No,
favorite.
I'm glad you found what you're looking for.
I know, me
It's
too.
amazing.
Oh, and thank you for this one too.
No,
I'm
of
gonna wear it all
course.
winter.
Nice,
Yeah.
represent while you're massaging people.
Yeah, exactly.
And thanks as always to the Faded Fairy. If you're still watching, like and subscribe and all that bullshit.
Legend.
Until next time, thank you. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.